All right, thank you all for tuning in to WGHT 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. My name is Chef Badu, and I'm a parallel entrepreneur and a wealth multiplier. I'm the founder and CEO of Badu Enterprises, LLC, which is a multinational conglomerate in the finance industry. So today we're here to basically talk about a COVID-19 relief update. Just chat about a few things that have been going on so far. A few things to expect. Of course, there's a lot of unknowns right now. So ultimately, we're here really talking about what to expect with the whole COVID-19 from a finance standpoint. Some of the stimulus that's coming out, some of the stimulus that has already been released. And basically just talk money pretty much. For those that are tuning in for the first time, welcome to the show Money Talks, where all we talk is money. And basically what we do is we kick it off with the market report. So just talking about a report as of June 19, 2020. So let's talk about what happened. Equities began the week edging higher, following the Federal Reserve's announcement that it would buy corporate bonds under an emergency lending program. So basically, the Federal Reserve is going to provide more stimulus under a federal emergency program. The Russell 2000 ultimately closed up 2.3%. The NASDAQ gained 1.4%, while the S&P 500 and the Dow eked out gains of less than 1%, respectively. After last week's tailspin, crude oil prices rebounded, while the yield on 10-year treasuries advanced slightly. Investors remain wary. However, as more than 20 states are seeing an uptick in reported cases of COVID-19, so there's higher cases of COVID-19 in 20 states, and new hotspots in Beijing and India are raising concerns of a resurgence of the pandemic. So basically, people are afraid that there's this quote-unquote second wave, as if the first wave is gone. Basically, investors are afraid that COVID-19 cases will increase over time, which is very fair. I mean, Florida, I don't know if you guys saw the numbers this past weekend, but they were in the 4,000s. I mean, they're in the thousands consistently. So overall, that is something that you do want to keep in mind when it comes to that. So basically, all in a nutshell, it's hard to predict anything, but what we can do is use the information we have to make the best decisions possible. Right now, I mean, it's really up in the air. It's truly in God's hands. It's nothing anybody can control right now. So you just have to do the best you can with what you have. And we'll talk about today, one of the things you have access to are small business loans, grants, and things of that nature. Following an impressive retail sales report, stocks jumped higher last Tuesday, led by the global Dow at 2.45%. Each of the benchmark indexes posted gains of at least 1.75%, the NASDAQ being one of them. Also climbing were crude oil prices, 2.24%, and gold, 0.47%. Then last but not least, the yield on the 10-year treasuries, 7.69%, which is a huge jump, by the way. Most sectors advanced, with the best performers being energy, healthcare, and materials. So those are the three industries that performed the best. Along with the robust retail sales report, the Trump administration announced that it is preparing a $1 trillion infrastructure proposal aimed at accelerating the economy. So that is very important, by the way. It's very important to pay attention to, and that the government, or the Trump administration, announced a $1 trillion infrastructure proposal in order to accelerate the economy. So that could be something that can make a lot of noise over the next few months or so. The NASDAQ inched ahead on Wednesday, but that was only the benchmark to gain. The large caps of the Dow and the S&P 500 fell 0.65% and 0.36% respectively. The Russell 2000 sank 1.77%, and the global Dow changed negligibly. The yield on 10-year treasuries dropped 3.04%, while crude oil prices decreased 1.75% to $37.71 per barrel. It appears increases in reported COVID-19 cases were enough to pull investors from stocks. So anytime investors hear about COVID-19 cases going up, they just get scared, they panic, they sell, so demand basically goes down. So what happens is that stock prices go down, and that's where people like you and I can get in at a good price or at a low enough price in order to really take advantage. And if you're tuning in, welcome to the show. It's Money Talks, where all we talk is money. And if you would like to contribute, whether you have a question, a comment, a concern, anything of that nature, you can feel free to call into the studio, 773-942-7167, 773-942-7167. We're also streaming live on Facebook and Instagram, so you can post your questions there if you very well please. Of course, you always have the opportunity to reach out to me after the show for any questions, comments, concerns. Phone number is 773-679-7198. Once again, 773-679-7198. So for those that didn't catch it, if you have a question and you're on Facebook or Instagram, all you need to do is just post your question in the chat box. Now let's talk about what happened Thursday. Stocks were mixed last Thursday as concerns over the escalating number of reported virus cases, coupled with another 1.5 million new claims for unemployment insurance, so jobless claims basically, caused investors uneasiness. The Dow fell 0.15%, while the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Russell 2000 all posted marginal gains, which is crazy that the stock market, the jobs report shows that 1.5 million people file for unemployment, as if that's a normal thing. That's the new normal now. People just losing their jobs left and right. At least we're back into the into the 1 millions or 1.5 millions nowadays, as opposed to the 6 millions and the 5 millions. But energy stocks help increase stocks following a pledge from major oil producing countries to continue to limit output. Friday closed what may be best described as a roller coaster ride for stocks. The Dow fell 0.8%, S&P 500 fell 0.56%, the Russell 2000 lost 0.59%, and the global Dow gave back 0.29%. Only the tech-heavy NASDAQ, which is on fire right now. NASDAQ, composed of technology stocks, is on fire. Actually gained 0.3%. Earlier in the day, stocks rallied following reports out of China that it would comply with phase 1 of the trade deal, Of course, they've been seeing some increased COVID-19 cases over there. By accelerating purchases of U.S. exported farm goods. Nevertheless, recorded increases of COVID-19 reported cases in Florida. I mean, Florida was nasty this past week. And I guarantee you it's probably about to get even more nasty this week. I think Florida, they might just need to shut down the whole place again. But Florida and Arizona drew stocks back from earlier gains. So as Florida's cases increase, the stock market decreases. So there's a direct correlation between COVID-19 cases and the stock market. As COVID-19 cases go up, the stock market goes down. Basically because the economy is suffering when the cases are going up. Investors fear that we'll be shut down again, which I think will happen. That will force stock prices to go back down. Remember, this is an opportunity for you to now buy at a lower price. Although you should never speculate the market. It's just an opportunity to make some short-term money. Pharmaceutical companies just have to be in that. I mean, without a doubt, you need to be in pharmaceuticals. Novavax, for example, is up through the roof, over 400% in the past 3 months alone. And by the way, that's when I first bought the stock. But ultimately, you really have to, right now, there's a lot of unknowns. What we do know, though, is the things that are available to us. We know COVID-19 cases will increase over the next few months, and they've shown a trend right now. We know that some states will probably be forced to shut down again. So what this creates is an opportunity to get in the market or take advantage of lower stock prices. And if you're one of those investors who may be quote-unquote afraid, well, this might be an opportunity to maybe cash in on some of your gains and perhaps take that money and invest it elsewhere until the market sort of cools off a little bit. Because right now it's a roller coaster. It just goes up and it just goes down. And thank you guys for tuning in, by the way. Remember, if you have a question, all you have to do is type it into the chat box. There's no formal Q&A or anything like that. You simply ask your question, and I'll be able to answer it. Now let's continue here. For the week, the ups and downs experienced by equities ended with the benchmark indexes closing ahead, led by the NASDAQ, followed by the Russell 2000, the S&P 500, the Global Dow, and the Dow. The yield on the 10-year Treasuries closed the week where it began. So let's continue here. Year to date, the NASDAQ is safely, remember, technology stocks. If you need a safe place to put your money, put it in technology stocks. And if you need a place where it can actually even grow on top of that, put it into some tech stocks. Namely, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, even Square. These companies, they're not going down anytime soon. Trust me. They're here to stay for a very long time. COVID-19 or not, they'll still be here because they're tech-based. COVID-19 is not a tech thing. If you have the technology and you're capable of still working, then you're good. There's nothing to worry about. That's why tech stocks right now are pretty much recession-proof. And then also more defensive stocks such as grocery stores, and a company like Walmart. Basically, companies that provide things that people need right now, and of course, pharmaceuticals. Right now, there's a race to develop the COVID-19 vaccine, which Moderna, for example, right now is in, I believe, phase 3 of the COVID-19 or COVID-19 testing. So let's do a quick check. Remember, if you have a question, please type it into the chat box. That's the best way to get your question answered. You just have to type it in, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook. So that's the best way that we answer questions, and we answer questions as we go along. And you can feel free to ask any question. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be related to anything. It can be related to what we're talking about, or it can be related to anything in general, of course, money related. I'm not a relationship counselor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm a money expert, and all I do is talk about money on this show. Price of crude oil went up $36.41 per barrel to $39.50 per barrel. And then the price of, price of COMEX gold went up $17.38.40 per ounce to $17.55.10 per ounce. Now let's talk about the Dow Jones. Dow Jones is down 9.35% so far this year. NASDAQ is up. NASDAQ is up in the double digits. While everything is tanking, the world is in chaos, and nobody knows what to do, the NASDAQ is up double digits, 10.85%. Can you imagine? Do you really know what that means? It means that in a recession, technology stocks won't be going anywhere anytime soon. So knowing that, it's very, very clear that you need to be in technology stocks. It's very, very simple. Very simple. Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. These tech-heavy companies, Facebook. These are the companies that are doing well during the bad times. And, of course, during the good times, they're doing excellent. So, if I'm an investor, if I'm a new investor, and I'm listening to this segment right now, I'm thinking, well, the best place to start is probably technology. I mean, there's really no other way. If you need another good place, it's not as safe, but it's definitely a good place. It would essentially. So pharmaceuticals is definitely a great place to put your money. So that's a great place to be. So question here: I'm down $3,000. Should I pull out, invest more, or be patient? I have a lot of gas and oil stocks. Yeah, gas and oil is not doing too hot this year. That's for sure. Anytime your stocks are down, you should never sell. It's buy low, sell high. So when the stock is down, and let's say it's in a pretty good company, right? Assuming you've done your research, assuming that this company, before you invested into the company, that you knew that it was a company that's here to stay. So if you're down in the market and you're in a good company, then you should keep it that way. As a matter of fact, if and only if it's a good company meaning you've done your research, and we've talked about what it means, what it means for a company to be a good company. We've defined what that means. There's 5 key components that we shared on the radio. If that's the case, then you should actually be buying more into that company. If it's really all that good, then you should be buying more. So remember, it's buy low, sell high. Remember the rules of investing. A lot of people lose money in the stock market because they don't follow the rules. They buy high and sell low. Can't do that. If a stock is going up, that's not the time to buy it. That's the time to sell it if you have it. If it's buy it. So just something to keep in mind pretty much when it comes to the stock market. Now let's talk about eye on the week ahead. So what to expect this week? Now, ultimately, and for those that didn't catch what I just said, the stocks that are recommended are pharmaceutical stocks. So a few of those, I'll just name an example. You should always be doing your own research, but I'll just name some examples of pharmaceutical stocks. Novavax is one, and there's another company called Moderna. So those are 2 pharmaceutical companies that you could, if you decided to, invest in, and they're in a race for COVID-19 vaccine. Other things, and I'll repeat it again, technology stocks, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Facebook. We all know these companies. There's no surprise what a technology stock is. You use it every single day. You're using it right now as we speak. You're using Facebook and Instagram, which is owned by Facebook. So there's no surprise to the names of these companies. Nobody should be surprised when I say Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. These are the tech companies that are pretty good. And somebody asked, should people deal with brokers? If you don't know how to manage your own money, then yes, you should find a trusted broker or somebody who's trusted to invest your money for you, essentially. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And then somebody asks, do you suggest broad-based index funds or stock picking? Yes. If so, it depends on how much experience you have. If you're new to the game, you have no business stock picking. Basically, you should be in well-diversified index funds. The best ones to be in are typically ones tied to the S&P 500. SPY is one, for example. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You can never really go wrong with an index fund as long as you've done your research, and as long as research is very important when it comes to stocks. So index, you definitely can't go wrong because you're diversifying into more stocks. And for those that didn't catch the topic earlier, today we are actually talking about COVID-19 financial relief. We'll talk about some things you can take advantage of if you're an individual or business owner. Some of you may have heard some business loans that are expiring very soon, next week to be exact. So we will be talking about that. That's actually the topic of the segment. So if you have a question regarding that, I would challenge you to wait until we talk about it first, and then you actually go in with your question. So that's the topic for those that didn't catch it. We're talking about COVID-19 financial relief programs that are available for people, whether you're an individual. We'll focus more on the businesses, but we'll cover a few things about individuals as well. And today won't be that long of a segment. Today will be more so just an update by nature. It's not a new topic or anything like that. It's just more update. A few things to keep in mind this week, though. Several important economic reports are out this week. The final estimate for the quarter gross domestic product is released this week. It is not expected that much will change from the prior estimate, which had the economy slow at a rate of 5%. May home sales figures are also available this week. Existing home sales plunged in April, while new home sales were little change, essentially. The durable goods orders report for May is also out this week. Orders fell by more than 17% in April, which is really bad. May should show some more improvement. So now let's talk about a few updates. Just a few things to update you guys on with the whole stimulus. So full disclosure, anything can happen after the segment today. So anything that you hear is as of the segment. So literally something can change tomorrow morning. Something can change on Friday. Anything that you're listening to today is only relevant as of today. So first thing I would say is there are some loans, business loans out there. There's two main business loans, or grants if you want to call them. The first one is the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program. And essentially with this loan, so it is an actual loan. It is only for business owners, and it is for those who have a 2019 tax return that's filed and that's on record. Basically, if you're a sole proprietorship or you have a Schedule C and you file on your personal tax return, then your Schedule C needs to show a profit. If it does not show a profit, if line 31 of your Schedule C shows a loss, you don't qualify for this loan. Very straightforward, very simple rule. No gimmicks, no. I mean, it's as straightforward as they can possibly be. If you have a Schedule C, let's say you're an Uber driver, taxi driver, business owner, whatever it is. If you have a Schedule C, meaning business income and profit and loss or income and expense on your 1040 individual tax return, then you don't qualify for anything. However, if you have a profit, then here's what would happen. You would take your profit, which is found on line 31 of your Schedule C, divided by 12 and multiplied by 2.5. That is the maximum loan amount that you qualify for. So basically, if you have a profit of $12,000, you would divide it by 12 and ultimately multiply by 2.5, which, if my calculation is correct, is $2,500. And basically, that's the amount that the SBA would give you. And you can apply through your local bank. You can apply through my firm. We do offer assistance in the application. The deadline to submit an application is June 30th, but that can be any sooner than that, because more and more people are being proactive now since they found out there's a deadline to this money. It's funny how when you set a deadline, how people actually react to it. But the sweet part about this loan is that it's fully forgiven as long as you use the money for business purposes. At least 60% of the money has to be towards your payroll, or in a Schedule C scenario, paying yourself, basically. And then the other 40% or so can be used for rent, mortgage, interest, utilities, things of that nature. So basically, just somebody asked me, well, how should they use the money? Well, just use it for business purposes. Don't go out and start shopping for personal or anything like that with the money. If you do, it won't be fully forgiven, and you will have to pay the money back. The nice thing with the payback, though, it's only 1% interest. They've extended the term to 5 years now. Payments don't even start until about 6 months or so. And ultimately, it used to be that you had to use 75% towards payroll. Now it's only 60%, which is pretty nice. And then the term has been extended. The forgiveness term has been extended from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. So this is the PPP Paycheck Protection Program. You can apply through your local bank, or you can apply through a private institution or private fund such as my firm. We do offer the ability to apply for PPP loans on your behalf for a fee, of course. And then we also provide forgiveness consulting. So that is one thing. This is basically free money that you can apply for. You have until next Tuesday to apply. But the sooner you can act, the better. First in line is first to get fed. Last in line, you might not even get fed. So this is one of the small business relief or programs that's out there. So that's something to definitely keep in mind when it comes to that. And if you guys have any questions about anything, like after we're done chatting here or anything like that, just feel free to reach out to me after the call or anything like that. So that's the PPP loan, Paycheck Protection Program. The next one is the EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan. This one was just released again last Tuesday. Last Tuesday, I got an email at about 7 a.m. And trust me, I jumped out of bed very quick to inform some of the businesses that I'm involved with, inform some of my clients. So ultimately, there is the EIDL, so Economic Injury Disaster Loan, that you can apply for. This one, you apply directly on the SBA.gov website. So if anybody's asking, how do I apply for EIDL? You simply go to SBA.gov. You go to the EIDL section. It's a very short, very simple application. It should take you no more than 5 minutes to fill it out. I guarantee you. There's no paperwork, as of now, at least, there's no verification. Not saying to commit fraud. Definitely do things under the book, right? Take advantage where you can. But when it comes to the government, trust me, you don't want to mess around. There's somebody that's in jail right now for PPP loan fraud. And I've had some people reach out to me, and the way they submitted their PPP loan applications, I'm like, you might want to be careful with this stuff. But basically, EIDL is it's as easy as it comes. SBA.gov, that's the website. All you need is a business, or you're self-employed. You can even be a nonprofit. Essentially, you're submitting information. How much money did you make last year? How much expenses did you have? You can get up to a $10,000 grant or advance, fully forgiven. This one doesn't have to be paid back. It's basically the number of employees times $1,000, and that's the amount that you get as a grant or as an advance, which is fully forgiven. Whether you're showing income, whether you're showing a loss, you could qualify for this grant, depending on what you put on the application. Now, for the loan, you can also get a loan that is very favorable. No payments due for 12 months. No payments due for 12 months. Interest rate very low, 3.75% or so. And this money might get forgiven depending on how generous the SBA or the government is getting. I believe it will get forgiven at some point. But basically, there's a grant portion of it, and then there's a loan portion. So this is the EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, that allows you to get up to a $10,000 grant. It's $1,000 per employee. That they'll advance right into your bank account within a few business days. And then you can also get approved for the loan. I mean, I have a client who last week told me he got approved for $84,000. $84,000 that he doesn't have to pay back, or the payments don't start. It's a 30-year loan. The payments don't start for a whole year. The payments don't start for a whole year. Now, if anybody like this, and this is money that you are supposed to reinvest back into your business. So perhaps payroll, equipment, hiring people, expansion, I mean, just something that basically helps your business maintain or sustain. This is a great way to strategize on a loan. I mean, to me, it's free money. Anything that you tell me I don't have to pay back in 12 months or within 12 months, because I can make that money back pretty easily. As a matter of fact, I can double that money and give you what you originally gave back to me 6 months from now. And also, never take out something that you can't handle per se, but for you not to take advantage of this loan would mean that there's something wrong with the business in general. I mean, and sometimes we get afraid of this word loan. Like, we think that it's a bad thing. It's a curse, that we're somewhat slaves to the lender and all this. I mean, sometimes we have to put that stuff to the side, because ultimately that's what we have to take advantage of. Somebody asked, how long does the second program stay active? Well, guess what? It can expire tomorrow. So it's not a matter of how long, it's when are you going to apply for it. I think that's the question that you should be asking yourself. They've said June 30th is the cutoff. However, the first round went out within 2 weeks, and they never set an expiration date on that. I think some people thought, oh, this might last a while. Oh, no. With the amount of people that have called me or emailed me about this loan, I don't think it's about to last past. I don't think it's going to last past June 30th. I don't even think it's going to last past this Friday. So this is not one of those things where, oh, I'll think about it, or let me sleep over it. No. By the time you wake up, this money might be gone. So if you're looking to grow your business, if you're looking to take advantage of some government funds, this is your prime time opportunity. I think COVID-19 was one of the best things to happen, especially to business owners. It sucks from a medical standpoint. It sucks from what it's doing to the economy and laying people off and all this stuff. But when they're giving out so much stimulus, it makes me think, well, I mean, how can you not survive during a time like this? If you're a business owner, knowing that they're giving you this money, they're giving you 12 months and there's no payments required. They're giving you 12 whole months, an entire year, no payments. So for me, I'm like, wow. And of course, you have to make sure your paperwork is good. You have to make sure you're keeping good, clean books and records. No, they're not just handing this money to anybody now. They're only handing it to those who qualify. So if you're one of those people that qualify, then this can be a great program, a great thing to take advantage of. And I seriously do applaud the government for what they did with the stimulus for businesses. I mean, it's a pretty sweet deal. I mean, you're talking an EIDL up to $10,000 wired into your bank account within a few business days, and then you also get approved for the loan. The $10,000 does not need to be paid back. It's free money. They're saying, here's $10,000. I mean, if it doesn't get any sweet, I don't know what gets sweeter than that. That the government would just hand me $10,000 on an application that took me 5 minutes. It reminds me of financial aid a little bit when I was in college. So the point here is you really have to take advantage when it comes to this stuff. I mean, just stay posted, stay on the news, at least from a financial standpoint, and ultimately just make sure that you educate yourself when it comes to these topics, because I mean, it's a lot of money out there. Facebook is giving a grant. Yelp is giving a grant. PayPal just gave a grant for minority business owners, but that expired about a week ago. So take advantage is the big takeaway today. Don't just sit back and cry over COVID-19 or say how am I going to make it through. It's how do I take the resources I have now to take advantage so I can get ahead. So I can get ahead of the curve and start thinking of ways that I can recover my business from this quote-unquote disaster that we're going through. And more will come out. More will come out. But that's not guaranteed, per se. So first in line is first to eat. Right after, as a matter of fact, while listening, you should be on the SBA website right now as we speak. And then if you want to wait a little bit, maybe wait until after the segment, get on the SBA.gov website, search for EIDL or Economic Injury Disaster Loan. The money is there right now, at least as of right now as we speak. It might not be there tomorrow morning. So if you're like, man, I wish I would have took advantage, I'm like, I hate to be the I told you so guy, but that's just the world that we live in. Is you really have to take advantage, especially when it comes to this money. Just think about like a popular food or a popular thing that everybody's just swarming to. So when you hear about a stimulus, a program, a grant, I mean, I would apply first, ask questions later. Like it's truly stuff that that's out there. And another thing too, City of Chicago, for those that got vandalized or stores got damaged or anything like that, City of Chicago is offering a grant in order to help you restore. You can search on the City of Chicago website for that information. I also posted on my Facebook today too. But if you went through a disaster, like a true physical disaster in your business, then you can go ahead and actually apply for some stimulus on that. A few other things. There's been expanded unemployment benefits. So if you're one of those that was laid off, or if you're a business owner that's struggling a little bit, then you can apply for unemployment. They give you an extra $600 per week. So that's something you can definitely take advantage of. Just expanded unemployment benefits. I know some taxi drivers that are living very, very nicely right now. They're collecting $600 on top of what they would have been able to collect on unemployment. So I do applaud. I mean, this is America, home of the free, land of the brave, land of the opportunities. And I truly applaud. I mean, if you live in America today, you are a very, very lucky individual. I know the world is in shambles, the world is in chaos, but all this stimulus you're seeing, this is not for every country. Some people are physically and mentally suffering right now, and for the United States of America to basically, just give you such stimulus, that's huge. That's very huge. So that's something I do encourage you guys to take advantage of when it comes to that. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything. That's basically the segment for today. Hopefully you guys gained some insight. Hopefully you guys got some takeaway. I promise that we wouldn't go too long today, just because this is more of an update than anything. Just wanted to provide you guys with an update. But ultimately, I hope you take advantage of these programs. This is serious business here that we're talking. Some of the money is free. Some of the money has very favorable terms. This could be an opportunity for you to really, really take your business to the next level by taking advantage of some of these programs. If you have any questions, 773-679-7198 is the number. Once again, 773-679-7198 is my direct business line. You can feel free to email me, jeffbadu@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get to me, actually. And so, yeah, there's more. There might be more stimulus coming out. You might see some stimulus on the individual side. So ultimately, take advantage. Definitely take advantage of this stuff. Some of the money is free. You just have to be one of the first people to apply for it. So with that, looks like we're at just about 7:40. We'll end pretty early today. Thank you all for tuning in to WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. My name is Chef Badu, and I look forward to continuously delivering you all some content. Thank you.